What's going on, everyone? It's your boy Sideswipe the Boss back at it again with another video, and I am here again with yet another tier list. And today I'll be doing the Supergirl main characters. So Supergirl ended like a week or two ago, or like a week and a half or something like that. Had this season 5 finale. So now is a better time than any to do a tier list about the characters. And before we get started, I just want to let you guys know that if you do like this video, just hit that like button. It takes 2 seconds. And also hit that subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this. So first up, we have Nan. And he was like one of the main villains for season 1. And he was very bad. Like very bad. He was bad, bland, not interesting. A little cliche at times too. So he's going in the F tier. He was just bad. Next up, we have Cat Grant, and Cat Grant's not so much like a bad character, but she's the most annoying ever. She's the most annoying character in the show. I don't think a character has come close to how annoying she was back in season 1 and part of season 2. So I'm going to put her in the D tier because she's not necessarily a bad character, but she's just so annoying. If you want to know why she's annoying, go check out my Supergirl Season 1 review. It'll be in the top right corner of the video right here. Next up, we have Alex Danvers, the sister to Kara Zor-El or Kara Danvers or whatever. And she's an okay character. I mean, she didn't really do a lot the first couple of seasons. I think season 4 is when she really started to come into her own as a character. The only really storyline she's really had is with like her father that one time in season 2, and also like relationship wise, that happens a lot. But other than that, she's just an okay character. She has some pretty decent fight scenes. I mean, her suit was okay from the season finale, like 2 weeks ago. So I mean, she's an okay character. So I'll put her in the C tier. Next up, we have Windshot, and Windshot is a great character. I really miss him. He left at the end of season 3, if you didn't know that. But yeah, he was a great character. I think he appeared for like 2 or 3 episodes in season 5, so it was refreshing to see him again. But yeah, he's like the Cisco of Supergirl, and it works very well for him. He's hilarious. He has good chemistry with the rest of the characters, and he's just an amazing character overall. So he's definitely S tier material. Next up, we have Lena Luthor, the mother of Lex and Lena Luthor. And honestly, she's the worst out of the Luthors. I mean, she's not necessarily terrible, but she's not that good either. Definitely worse than her children for sure. So I'm going to put her also in the D tier. Next up, we have Andrea Rojas. I think that's what her name was. She was introduced into this previous season, Supergirl season 5. She was like the new boss of Catgo. Well, sort of, because she already had her own company. I forgot what it was called. I think it was Obsidian or something like that. And she was an character to me, not very interesting. I mean, she did have some decent powers, so I guess that was fine. But she only used them a couple times in the first half of the season, and then only like once in the back half after Crisis. So she wasn't that interesting at all. So I'm going to put her in the C tier, but she'll probably end up at like the bottom of the C tier. Next up, we have Kara Danvers, aka Kara Zor-El, aka Supergirl. And to be honest, she didn't have the best start, especially in season 1. It was very like cheesy and corny and stuff like that. So she didn't really help that much. But as the show went along, she did get better. I think Melissa Benoist definitely came into her own in the character after season 1. And she's turned out to be a pretty good character nonetheless. I'm starting to see why she's becoming so popular, because she is a pretty good character. She portrays a lot of good emotion. She has some pretty cool fight scenes. I really like this new upgraded suit she got in season 5. It was awesome. And yeah, Melissa Benoist is just a great actress overall. So I definitely see all the hype around her character. So I'll put her at the bottom. Well, not the bottom, probably the top of the A tier. Next up, we have Astra, and she was like Supergirl's aunt, I think. And she's also like one of the main villains in season 1. She was an okay character. She was like the best out of the three, but that's not really saying much because she wasn't that interesting. What made her kind of interesting though was that she did have like that connection to Supergirl with her being Supergirl's aunt, made for some emotional scenes. Her death was a little more emotional, so I guess that was fine. Made her character stand out a little bit more. But other than that, not that interesting. So I'll put her in the C tier. She's probably going to end up like the lower half though. Next up, we have Ben Lockwood, aka Agent Liberty, and he was a pretty decent villain in season 4. I mean, when he first showed up, he was pretty cool. I like that little episode he had to himself that told his origin. That was pretty cool. And I mean, he didn't have the best ending or like the best back half because he was kind of put on the shelf for Lex Luthor, which I mean, that's fine. Give Lex as much time as he wants. But other than that, he was a pretty decent villain nonetheless. One of the better ones of Supergirl, so I'll put him in the B tier. Next up, we have Jimmy/James Olsen, aka Guardian, and he's an okay character. He didn't have the best start to the show, just like almost all the characters. And I mean, he didn't really grow into his own that much. He became a decently better character, but not in like any good or great capacity. I mean, him being Guardian was fine. He's typically not Guardian, but it's fine. The suit was fine. I like the shield, so that was alright. I think he left it like right before Crisis this season, so I mean, his character didn't really leave a vacancy. Well, it sort of did, but not really. So I'm gonna probably put him also in like the mid C tier. That's probably where he'll end up. Next up, we have MonEl, aka Valor, and I'm not sure if they called him Valor in the show, but that's what he's typically called. And he's the best character of the show, to be honest, in my opinion. He's great. I mean, he has a great storyline. He had a great redemption arc in season 2. His costume in season 3, well, not costume, well, it's like suit. It was awesome. It was a really great suit. And him and Kara's relationship is probably the best in the show. Maybe even the best in the whole Arrowverse. Because, the chemistry is so there. And I mean, maybe it's a little unfair to say that because the two actors, they're actually married in real life. So I guess that's why it works so well. But still, it's still one of the best. It is the best of the show. And maybe one of the best of the Arrowverse. But yeah, mon-el is just a great character overall. I love this cameo in that 100th episode too in season 5. So he's an awesome character. Definitely S tier material. Next up, we have Lena Luthor, and she's a pretty decent character. I mean, she's definitely better than her mother for sure, but I wouldn't say she's better than Lex. She flip-flops a lot between good and evil, and it can get annoying sometimes. Like, please just pick a side already. But other than that, she's a pretty okay character. She comes through when she's needed, and she also has a pretty good friendship with Kara, which leads for like some emotional scenes when they happen. So I'll probably put her in like the B tier, but she might end up in like the lower half of the B tier. Next up, we have Eve Tessmacher. And she's just around for like season 2, 3, and most of season 4 until she turned out to be evil and working for Lex in like the back half of season 4, which honestly came out of nowhere. But hey, what can you do? And then like season 5, she was just like a host for Lena's artificial intelligence thing. And then the back half of season 5, she was just there, to be honest. She didn't really do a lot. So, I mean, she's not really an important character. She's just one of those characters that appears to help fill or like help the story move along. So I'll put her probably in like the mid C tier. Next up, we have Lex Luthor himself. And he's a great character. Probably the best live action adaptation of the character we've had so far. And maybe we'll ever have. Because he's a great character. John Cryer is a great Lex Luthor. He's so like cunning, so smart. Everything in like the back half of season 5 was all made to like his design. And what I mean by that is like everything that happened was because of him. He put all the pieces in place and stuff to reach his own goal. So that was pretty awesome to see. And yeah, he's just a great character overall. Definitely S tier material, but probably the bottom of the S tier just because I like MonEl and Windshot a little bit more. So next up we have Gemma or Gamine, whatever her name is. She was a part of Leviathan in season 5, and she's a pretty okay character. I mean, she wasn't that interesting until like the last 2 episodes where she like showed her true form or teased her true form or whatever. So that was pretty cool to see. But other than that, she really wasn't an interesting character. She was just there to talk a lot and scold. So I'll put her at the bottom of the C tier for sure. Next up, we have Miss Martian, and she's a pretty decent character. She doesn't appear a lot, but when she does bring like a level of emotion to the show. Also connecting to like John Jones, because I think they're a thing now, or were they always a thing? I'm not sure. It wasn't really clear until season 5, but yeah, she's a pretty decent character. I like her suit. She has some pretty decent fight scenes. So yeah, she's a pretty good character. I'll put her in the B tier. Next up, we have Clark Kent, aka Kal-El, aka Superman. And he's a great character. I know he only appears like a few times in the whole show. I believe like 4 or 5. And the other times he's just in crossovers. But other than that, he's a great character nonetheless. Tyler Hoechlin does a great job in the role. Even though I do think that Henry Cavill is a better Superman, for CW Superman, Tyler Hoechlin definitely fits the role. I mean, he's a great character nonetheless. So I'll also put him in the A tier for sure. Next up, we have Indigo. I think that's what her name was. And she was also like one of the main villains in season 1. And she was awful. Just awful. I don't even gotta say much about that. She was awful. Next up, we have Lois Lane. And I know she only appears in crossovers, but she is technically connected to like the Superman and Supergirl universe. So I decided to include her into this list. And she's a pretty okay Lois. Definitely not the best I've seen, but definitely not the worst I've seen for sure. And yeah, she's a pretty okay Lois. I mean, she has that connection with Superman, and I like that, you know, the typical Lois and Superman connection. And it's going to be interesting to see how she comes out in this new Superman and Lois TV show for sure. But I'll put her in the B tier, but she's probably going to be at like the bottom of the B tier. Next up, we have Maggie Sawyer. She was Alex's girlfriend in like season 2 and half of season 3. And I mean, other than that, I don't really know what her storyline was or what purpose she had in the show other than just being like a love interest to a main character. So I'll just put her in the D tier, probably the top of the D tier, but that's really it. I don't know what her purpose was in the show. Next up, we have John Jones, aka Martian Manhunter, and he's a good character as well. He brings a lot of emotion to the show, you know, has that big heart, also connects to like family a lot because he has a lot of family issues, to be honest. Well, not issues, but like family struggles, you know, like his father in season 3, meeting Magan in season 2, and then his brother in like the first half of season 5. So yeah, a lot happens with him. He has a lot of character development, and you know, whenever he just turns into his Martian form, that's always awesome nonetheless. So I'll also put him in the A tier along with Superman and Supergirl. Next up, we have Nia Knoll, aka Dreamer. I think that's how you say her name. And she's an okay character. I mean, she's not the best character for sure, but definitely not the worst. She has some pretty cool powers. I mean, she has a pretty decent suit. She brings a level of diversity to the show since she's the show's like first transgender, I think, on the show. I don't know if she's the first, but she's the first like open one. So I mean, there's that level of diversity. And yeah, she's just an okay character. I think she has a pretty decent relationship with the other characters. So yeah, I'll put her in like the mid C tier. Next up, we have Samantha Arias, aka Rain, and she's a good villain. She was a good main villain. Not the best main villain, because that spot's reserved for Lex, but she's probably like the second best main villain on the show. I mean, she's pretty great. She was very threatening as well. I mean, beating Supergirl almost to a pulp and dropping her off a building, that was an awesome fight. And yeah, she also brought a level of emotion because, it was a fight between Rain and Samantha for like control over the body, Yeah, it was pretty cool to see. And she's a great main villain nonetheless. So I'll put her probably in like the bottom of the A tier. Next up, we have Rama Khan. He's also like a part of Leviathan. He really wasn't interesting at all. He was bland, very cliche, a little Shakespearean at times as well. It was kind of annoying. His powers were cool, but that's really all he had going for him. So I'll put him in like the mid D tier because that's all really he had going for him was just his cool powers. Next up, we have Queen Raya. I think that's what her name was. It's mon-el's mom and also the main villain of season 2. And she was bad. Also, again, very cliche, kind of Shakespearean, not that interesting, very just one-dimensional. So she's also going into the F tier, but above Non and Indigo. Next up, we have William Day, and I don't understand the point of his character either. I mean, he was working for Andrea. I mean, that was there. And I don't know if they're trying to grow a relationship between him and Kara. It's not working if that's the case, but if it is, I'm interested to see where it goes. But yeah, I'll just put him at the top of the D tier right now because I don't really understand the point of his character. And he wasn't that good of a character anyway. Next up, we have Brainiac 5, aka Coral Dox. And he's a pretty good character. He was brought in to kind of like replace Wynn in the show as also like some comedy relief. And it worked because he's very funny. He did get like his personality things removed, I think those what those were, which showed his like true form. And that was pretty cool to see, the green skin and the purple suit. That was awesome. And he did become kind of bland, not that interesting until like the season finale of season 5. So yeah, I'm gonna have to put him probably in like the mid A tier. If he didn't lose his personality, he'd probably be in the S tier. But for right now, he'll be in like the mid A tier. Next up, we have Kelly Olsen, James Olsen's sister, and also a love interest to Alex. And I also don't understand the point of her character other than being a love interest. I mean, she did have that Guardian shield for like a couple episodes, and I don't know if she's going to become the new Guardian since James Olsen is gone. But I'll just put her at like towards the top of the D tier. Next up, we have Saturn Girl, aka Emra Ardeen. And she was a pretty okay character. She did bring a level of kind of like weirdness or like struggle between Kara and mon-el because, mon-el went to the future and then married Emra, but still in love with Kara. And it was kind of a mess, to be honest, but she's a pretty decent character. She has some pretty cool powers nonetheless. And she did bring a good level of emotion when needed. So I'll probably put her at like the top of the C tier. And finally, we have Manchester Black. He was like an anti-hero / anti-villain, I guess, of season 4. I mean, he had his own agenda because Agent Liberty killed his girlfriend or wife or whatever she was. Then he was just on a path for like revenge. He's pretty cool. He has some pretty cool fight scenes. I mean, I like that little shield he had on his chest. I mean, it was a decent suit. Very, very comic book accurate for sure. And, yeah, he was a pretty decent character. And I liked his relationship with John, or like that kind of like brotherly connection he had with John for sure. So I'll probably put him in like the mid B tier. So that's the list, everybody. F tier, we have Queen Raya, Non, and Indigo. D tier, we have William Day, Kelly Olsen, Maggie Sawyer, Rama Khan, Cat Grant, and Lena Luthor. C tier, we have Emra Ardeen, Alex Danvers, James Olsen, Eve Tessmacher, Nia Knoll, Astra, Andrea Rojas, and Gemma or Gamine or whatever her name was. B tier, we have Ben Lockwood, McGann Morris, Manchester Black, Lena Luthor, and Lois Lane. A tier, we have Kara Danvers, Clark Kent, Brainiac 5, John Jones, and Rain. And S tier, we have MonEl, Windshot, and Lex Luthor. And that's all the time we have for today, folks. I hope you guys enjoyed this list. Let me know in the comment section down below what you thought about this list. Would you change it? Would you keep it the same? Just let me know that in the comment section down below. And also let me know in the comments what tier list you would like to see next, and I will get to it as soon as I can. And if you do like this video, just hit that like button. It takes 2 seconds. And if you want to see more videos like this, just hit that subscribe button and hit the bell to turn on notifications to see more videos on my channel like this. And I will catch you guys later. Peace out.